Let me show you this. This is some hairspray. It's like in the Halloween costume section over at Walmart. And this is what we are going to use to mark the goats that we're going to keep. So we have two females that are about 7 or 8 months old. And we have one male who's going to go to the sale barn in a few days. So once I get them marked, I'm marking the females because from what I've seen at the sale barn, they'll have marks on them, the same stuff, hairspray stuff. But you have to wonder, why are they marked? Like, why? It looks like they want to get rid of them. And they call that culling, C-U-L-L-I-N-G, culling the herd. So you get rid of the ones you don't want, and that way, supposedly, it makes the herd better. Well, I think that's a bad idea, because I think they don't bring as much money when you mark them. So, you ready to get some corn? What we're going to do is mark the two females that are staying here. So that's one male that's going, and actually I think that's the female that's staying. She's so small. The male is way bigger. There he is, actually, right there. So we're going to mark the two females, and we're going to keep the male. I'm carrying this food bucket up on my shoulder, otherwise they'll pull it out of my hands. So if I pitch it really fast, it kind of keeps them occupied, and I'll spray paint on them. So I pitch it in, usually a little faster. I think they all have full belly right now. Okay, now let's get our spray paint. Make sure we don't get that male. Where's that sucker? I think that's him right there. There, big boy. Yep, that's him. Okay, so this one over here, there's one female. There's the other female right there. Okay, so now, see, she has a green mark on her, and she has a green mark on her. Give her a little extra. And now this is the boy, and he's the one that's going to the sale. So the two marked ones are going to stay. Well, we've got these things here. So today the goats are going to the sale barn. And I'm going to dress a little different today. These things are called sun sleeves. And I'm going to use those in conjunction with my short sleeve shirt so that it gives me some more movement, like physical movement. So there's really no brand name. I mean, you can see it's just like some kind of made up brand or something. Basically, if you just look on Amazon for sun sleeves, they come in maybe a 4-pack for $10 or something like that. I've used the crap out of these. They're kind of coming undone now. But they're stretchy. So you put them on your arms to keep the sun off. But what works great when you're wrestling the goats is it keeps you from getting your arms all scraped up, because it's inevitable you're probably going to end up on the ground wallowing around with squabbling with some goat. So these are what I'm going to use today instead of my normal long sleeve shirt. I've used a long sleeve in the past, but the tail is really long and the sleeves get hung on everything. So it's just better like this is what I've found. Alright, so I'll just take these things here. It's kind of like pantyhose or something. Let's see how they're stretchy. And what these things are doing, they're protecting my arms in case I have to hit the ground. Because, believe it or not, wrestling goats can be a little bit troubling. These goats are young, probably won't be a big deal. Let me get this other one. I'm going to put on the other side here. These things work. It's a windy day today, by the way. Hopefully it's not going to be a problem. Basically, that's how it works. It gives me movement, and I try to bring it all the way down into where I'm going to wear my gloves, and got my jeans and my boots. So we're about ready to roll. We got the old golf cart. Alright, so we've got our little toolbox full of stuff here. I was going to show you what we have going. First of all, we got our ice chest with our two. These are frozen, like old water bottles. I just freeze them and make them like ice. Two of those, and then our regular water bottle. So that helps things. We'll set that aside. Then around here in Texas, I don't know if this is everywhere, but you have to have what they call Scrapie tags. So Scrapie is a disease. It's like rabies or something. It gets in their brain, and you can't tell if they have it until they've already died, and then they can dissect their brain. So you get these tags, you order them, and I forgot where these came from. I'll see if I can look up and find that out. But basically, the state of Texas recommended this company, and that's who I went with. So let me set this aside. So these things, the way that you install these, you use this tool, and I'll show you how to make it work. You can see they've got very sharp, they're like needles. Like if you touch it with your finger, it's gonna prick just like a pin, and it plugs in to this other side, so it folds over. Like when you install it, you fold it over and it punches through the ear, and it plugs into this side. There's a cartilage in the ear you have to watch out for. So let me see if I can show you a little better about how this thing is mounted into this tool, because you can see the tool on the inside has a square on this one side and a round on this other side. So basically, there's a square on this end and a round on this end, and you just fold it in there. It just fits right into the mouth. Okay, so you've got the square here. You see the way this is made, there's a square end and a round end. So basically, you just push it into the jaws, and it just snaps into place. See, the round one snapped in, now the square one snapped in. And whenever I squeeze this, it's going to punch, and it's like getting your ears pierced. Then it's going to pierce the ear, and it's going to plug into the other side, and it'll lock onto this little ridge thing here on this spike deal. So you don't want to touch this too much, because it's going to be very, very sharp. So what I do to prevent any problems, I use just generic brand Neosporin from Walmart. And I take the end of this and I put it inside here to get a little bit on it, like that. And then I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to rub it on the goat's ear on the inside and the outside, so when it pushes through, it's going to hopefully have some antibacterial protection. So I make note of the number on the tag. I just write it down on a piece of paper. So we're going to load that one up and have it ready to go. Then I just write down on a piece of paper right here. Let me see what number this is actually. Okay, this is number 25. So we've got 25 and 24. All right. So 24 and 25. So I'm going to swap that tag out so I don't get confused. I'm going to put number 24 in there first, but essentially I'm just going to write down which goat is which, because there's only two going. There's a white one and a black and white one. So they're going to be easy. Just notate which one's which. Okay, so these are my goat gloves, and I just change them out every so often after they get old. So G for goat, and this is version 8. So sometimes they get a little more grubby or stinky from the billy goat. All right, so we've got our tags, we've got our Neosporin stuff, and triple antibiotic, and we don't need this. I'll just leave this up here. We've got our tool and our gloves, and we're going to head back there and see if we can round them up. I'll show you how we do it. So Here we are at the old truck. This is my farm truck. Got the trusty vice grip type of deals here, and we just clamp it on here, hold it up, because these old hold upper things are about done. Been done for a while, I think. So this is the goat cage. This is what we are going to load up into the truck. So you see the rungs, they're kind of like cattle panels. They used to be, I think they were called garden panels in the old days, but see, the spaces are smaller at the bottom, and as you go up they get bigger. So we want to be sure we keep the small spaces on the bottom. And the gate is on this end. You can see all these clips I got on it. So all I do is I just roll this thing over like this, and I know I want this to be on the bottom. So I just tip it up like this. I walk it over to the truck. Then when I lay it down, it fits just right in there. And I don't know how this guy made this thing so perfectly. I need to make one. Let me show you a little more about how it's made. But basically, we just push this into the truck like this. Then, let me get a piece of wood. So this is a 2x12 right here. And it just so happens that this 2x12 fits right there. So when I close the gate, then the cage won't slide back. So let me show you a little bit more about this cage right quick. We're going to pull the truck up to the barn, and I'll show you some more about it. So the 2x12 board, when you close the tailgate, it fits enough here and here so that if you get a rowdy goat, even if they break these little clip things right here, because these are just aluminum, then they still can't really get the gate open because of that. Now, so far, I've had some pretty rowdy goats, but they have made they behave themselves once they get in here and they start rolling down the road. Okay, so let me lower this back and set this over here on the side. See, it fits just right on the side over there too. So my friend loaned me this cage, and I need to build one for myself because this thing, you can see, I mean, whoever made this thing made it just right where it fits, on both sides here. Both sides it fits real good. And I have multiple clips on here just in case I need them if I get a real rowdy goat. But usually 1 or 2 clips is fine to close the door. So whenever it comes time to get the goats up here, then you can see that window up in the front is open. So when I start driving between these windows on the side and the window in the front, then they get a pretty good air draft through here. You get the rowdiest goat first, the biggest one, the one that's going to be the most difficult to handle. And I put corn up inside there on the floor. So this is a plastic bed liner. This is a Nissan truck, and this came from the factory. So you can see how it's kind of deep there, and the corn gets down inside there, and they have to work to get it out with their mouth, and it keeps them busy. So you put your biggest, most difficult goat in first, you pour in some whole corn, and that'll keep them busy for a while you're getting the next goat. So the very first goat, I will open this door all the way up. So this door opens first. So these things, I guess they heated this with a torch or something, but they bent these around and made them like little hinges or something. So that one kind of stays open by itself. This one on this side, you can see I've got a little clip up here. It's kind of like French doors or something in a house. So basically, I'm going to open this side up here and see how it kind of wants to close a little bit. So if it gets all crazy on me, I'll put something like put that board in the way or something, but usually it's not a big deal. I just need a lot of room to get the first goat in, because usually once there's already a goat in there, when you put the second and third goats in, they're more comfortable. So after I get the first goat in, then I'm going to close this door right here and latch it here on the top, and then I'll set this one shut here and clip one clip, and then I'll see what I've got going on. Then when I come back and I'm ready, believe it or not, if they've got cord in there to mess with, I'll just they'll stay busy. And then I'll just open up this one side here now, and I'll get the more easy going goats in this way. Multiples. Usually 4 is the most I've had in here, but they've been youngsters. I'll have some corn up on top of the camper top here where they can't get to it. So I'll pour the corn out over here in the driveway, and they'll work on it. I spread it out. And if you spread it out a little bit, then everybody feels like they can have a turn. If you put it all in one pile, the big goats are going to compete with the small goats, and the small goats are going to back out because they don't want none. So we're going to do what I call a sneak attack. So when I get them out here, we marked, so there's 3 little white goats. And I marked them the other day, 2 females with the green hairspray. And the next one is going to be the male that does not have any hairspray. What we're trying to do is come up behind them when they're eating corn, and you grab both of their back legs out from under them, and they're going to squeal and holler like something's getting them, because they don't know if it's a coyote or what. Well, something is getting them, I'm getting them, but they're going to freak out a little bit. So you want to just get the legs out from under them and get a hold of them, and then you put them down on the ground, and you just hold them down a minute. And if you can hold their head down, they'll just give up. But they are scared, and you just have to settle them down. And then I'll get them over here to the truck, and I'm going to have all my stuff set up out here for the ear piercing tags and everything. I'll have everything set right here, probably on this grass, so that I'll pierce their ears right here on the spot. And the reason why I pierce their ears right now is because if you're going to keep a goat around and you want to identify them, I guess it works out. But the tags get old and dirty, and you can't read them anymore. And they've got RFID tags, but I just don't have that many goats. So it's not necessary for me to have all that business going on. But if I catch them inside the barn, let's say, for instance, and I tag their ears like 3 months ago, then when I'm coming after them this time, they're going to remember that, and they're going to run from me. So this time, they're used to me walking around them out here with all this corn and stuff. So we do the ear piercing, and then put them in the truck ready to go all at one time. Okay, so what's happened to me in the past, I've had, when I put that corn in there to keep the goat busy that gets in there first, the bigger goats will sometimes jump up in there and try to get all the corn before I get a chance to pour it out here. So now I don't put corn in there first. I put corn out here first. Okay. So if you got some big goats that you want to get in there, you can just start training them by bringing the truck out here, putting your big corn in, and getting them used to jumping up in there. Then you don't even have to squabble with them, but you're going to have to pierce those ears. So you're going to have a challenge there. You can pierce the big goat's ears, and they're going to still come to you. It's the little ones that get scared. So the perfect age I've found for taking the goats to the sale is 10 weeks. And right now, the white male is about 13 weeks, and the black and white's about 12 weeks. So hopefully this white one, he's pretty stout for a little goat. He's bigger than my 6 or 7 month old females, and I don't know if he's going to be a challenge. We'll find out. But that's why I have these sleeves on and these pants on, because I have had the wallow on the ground all over the place over here, wrestling them around. And if they're bigger, they're more likely to cause trouble. But if they're this small, I've had them where I can just carry them upside down like a baby. Hopefully that's going to be the case today. And the dogs are inside this fence right here. So when I come up here with the truck, then sometimes the goats want to follow me up here. It depends on how long it takes me. And then when I open the gate, the dogs want to come out. And it's a big deal trying to drive the truck through the gate without running over the dogs, because Cornbread has a bad hip, and the little dog, she's going deaf. They can't hear. They don't even know. they don't get out of the way fast enough. And if I don't get through here fast enough, the goats are going to catch up to me sometimes. Basically, it's just a cattle panel gate, and it's got those clips on it, the little carabiner clips. So this time what I'm going to do is pull the truck up in there, then I'm going to close this thing across like this. The dogs, if I open up that gate in the front to drive through, if they get in here, it's not a big deal. You know, I can give them time to get them out of the way. We have 25 mile an hour or 35, something like that wind today. Oh man, there's some kind of Saharan dust blowing in. All right, so we'll get the corn first, and the goats are probably going to hear it. When they do, then hopefully they'll come up here. So this is the trusty feed bucket. This is an old mop bucket my grandma gave me. She had this thing in the 80s. So we're going to put some corn in it, and I'm going to make some noise on purpose while I'm doing it. Let me open up this thing. So when I pour it in here, it's going to make the sound. And the goats are going to hear that. Oh, there they are. They're already here. What's up, y'all? See that one over there talking to me? That's the one we're fixing to haul to the sale. So we need this other little black and white one to show up. What's up, Gizmo? There he is. Alright, see, that's the little black and white one. He's going too. Alright, go on, goats. So they're going to come blasting out of there. They're like, oh yeah, man. We get some of that corn, man. I try to get enough in the can where I can put some to keep them happy, but leave me a little bit if I need to put some inside the truck. But I still have plenty. I put it up on top up here so they can't get to it. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to sprinkle it on the driveway runs right here. They kind of know about this already. So I want to put enough to keep them going for a while. There's one. I ought to get him now, but I'm going to get that other one first because he's rowdy. Or I think he's potentially rowdy. I think that's him. Yep. Sneak attack. Okay. Just take it easy. Just take it easy. Ugh. If they get away from you, you'll never catch them again. Alright, so I lost my microphone right here. I had it clipped onto my pocket thinking it would not get knocked off. Apparently it did anyway. So basically I'm just explaining at this point here, if they get away from you, you're not going to catch them again. So if you just hold their head down like this, then they're going to give up. So I'm kind of sort of sitting on his rear legs right now, because that's the other thing. They're always going to try to get their rear legs going. So you give them a little bit to give up. And I'm going to try to keep his head down with my elbow here in a minute and grab a hold of all 4 feet. But if the rear legs get away from me, I'm just going to have to kind of lay down on top of him, use my body weight to stop his rear legs until I can get his head back down again. So once they give up, you're pretty good. But this one here is quite feisty, and he's pretty big for his age. He's only 12 or 13 weeks. So I'm just trying to get a hold of his legs where I can carry him, because his horns aren't big enough for me to really grab onto like handles. You can see for 13 weeks, that's a big boy right there. So when I get him on the ground, I'm going to sit on top of him. I'm going to use my butt to hold his legs down if he starts trying to squirm. Now notice I've got his horn, because if you just put his horn on the ground, it works pretty well. They can't, it's like they feel like they're permanently stuck or something, and they'll just lay there. Now they're going to holler and stuff here and there, but if they try to squirm, I'd use my butt to hold the rear legs. That's the first thing. So I'm using the triple antibiotic. I'm putting it right there in front of the rib. So we've got the ribs inside the ears, and you don't want to get the rib for some reason. I think it bleeds real bad or something like that. So I'm going to put the socket side of this tag on the inside of the ear, because if that little spike even touches a little bit on the inside, he's going to jerk. So I want to find the place, because I don't want to puncture the rib. So I've already got the triple antibiotic on there. I'm going to double check here, be sure where I'm at. And once you decide to go, you do it quickly. Don't play around, just punch it, you know. So it's going to be a little bit of a pain at first, but it's pretty quick. So now I got to get him inside the truck. I'm going to use my elbow to hold his head down while I'm working to grab his legs, just like I did before. So I've got his front legs. I'm using my forearm there and my elbow to hold his head down. Got me making a plan here, trying to execute the plan. So once we get him up in there, we're good. You can see that left door kind of closed too on me there, but rather than having that board in my way, sometimes I just take my chance on that. I need to make a little piece of wire or something to hold that out of the way. So he was pretty darn feisty for his age. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my tag. And while I'm working here, Cookie's pulling on me. So Cookie's pulling on the back of my hat. She keeps tugging on the back of the hat. She grabbed a hold of it and pulled me over. So everything's all set up. All I got to do is get him over here. Like again, it's pretty warm outside right now. It's about 11:30, and I'm thinking it's well up into the 90s. So we're gonna get another refill of corn. And I'm gonna make sure I've got plenty of corn here, because you don't want to run out of corn when you're doing this job. So everybody's finished with their other corn. There's that little female there on the right we just passed. She had the green hairspray on her back. So this time I'm going to spread it out extra long. I'm going to make them work for it. I'll spread it way on down toward the back. Give them more space to have to go search for stuff. Right here, I'm going to give him some corn, but notice I'm putting my hand kind of on the outside and just pitching it in, because I have stuck my hand in there before and gotten whammoed more than one time. They haven't broken my hand yet, but they have certainly gotten me. So we got the rowdy one in there now. Now we're going to come back with the less rowdy one. That seems to be the best way. Doing the sneak attack. Boink. Okay, there again. I'm trying to keep control of his rear legs while I get his head down. So I'm using my body weight to hold his rear end. I'm holding his head because if I can hold his head long enough, he's going to give up. So use my elbow to try to keep the head down. Because once I get my butt off of his rear end, if he thinks he can get away, he's going to start squirming on me. Alright, same process as before. Get the old ear tag going on. I was going to lay him on the tailgate. I've done that before, but they're too big. Okay, once again with the triple antibiotic on the inside and the outside. And I'm feeling in there, seeing what the ribs are doing. It's not only the right spot, it's also the right angle. Real quick. Okay, so if I can lay him on the tailgate, then we'll be okay. Trying to hold his head down while I'm grabbing those rear legs. So I'm catching my breath and making a plan. So when I get him up here, I'm going to try to hold him down. Now if I have to, if he starts trying to get away, I'm just going to lay my belly on top of him. All my weight to hold him down while I use my right hand to keep that gate under control in that cage. Here we have it. So they're both in and ready to go. I put my board so that when I close the tailgate, the board keeps the gates closed. And the holes in the sides are not big enough for them to jump through. Now there's some corn in the bottom there to keep them occupied, but neither one of them really seem interested in the corn. I've had different goats in the past that they'll just sit there and eat the heck out of that corn.